She did not join a cult. She enrolled in a self-improvement program. The brochure promised personal growth, executive success, a structured methodology designed to help her reach her full potential. Thousands of people enrolled. Some paid $6,000 for the first course, then more for the next level, then more again. And somewhere between the first seminar and the so-called inner circle, the program stopped feeling like self-improvement. It started feeling like something else entirely. Something that required secrecy, something that required obedience, something that required control over every part of a person's life. At its most extreme, it required women to hand over nude photographs of themselves as collateral. It required confessions that could be used against them if they ever left. And in some cases, it required branding, a cauterized symbol placed on the body without anesthetic, a symbol they were told represented empowerment. Only later did they learn what it actually contained. His name was Keith Raniere. He called himself Vanguard, and for more than 20 years he convinced thousands of people that he was offering them the path to their highest self, while taking everything they had. Keith Allen Raniere was born on the 26th of August, 1960 in Brooklyn, New York. He was an only child. His mother died when he was 18. In later years, he claimed extraordinary achievements, including elite athletic success and an exceptionally high IQ. These claims were widely circulated within his organization, but they were not independently verified. In 1998, Raniere co-founded NXIVM alongside Nancy Salzman, a former psychiatric nurse. It was presented as an executive success program, a personal development system combining psychology, philosophy, and behavioral training. The courses were expensive, $6,000 to $10,000 per level. At its height, NXIVM had approximately 18,000 members across the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Among them were wealthy business owners, entertainers, and influential families. The system did not present itself as a cult. It presented itself as growth. And that distinction is where the manipulation began. Inside NXIVM, language was carefully controlled. Ordinary words were replaced with specialized meanings. Leaving the group became resistance. Criticism became toxicity. Doubt became a personal flaw to be corrected. This is one of the key psychological mechanisms that sustain the system. When language is controlled, perception is controlled. And when perception is controlled, behavior follows. Members were taught that questioning the methodology was not evidence of critical thinking. It was evidence of their own psychological damage, their own need for further training. In other words, doubt was not a signal to evaluate the system. It was a signal that the system was right about them. Even distress became framed as growth. By the time members reached higher levels, walking away no longer felt like a choice. It felt like loss. But beneath the surface, something more secretive was forming. A private inner circle called DOS. It was presented as an elite sisterhood, but entry required collateral. Nude photographs, confessions, personal information that could be used to destroy their reputations if they ever left. Control did not rely only on belief, it relied on leverage. And then came the initiation. Members were told they would receive a symbol representing strength. What they were not told was the full meaning. The mark contained Keith Raniere's initials, burned into the skin, without anesthetic, severe caloric restriction, sleep deprivation, and, in some cases, sexual exploitation justified as part of personal development. This is the psychological pattern of high-control environments. Not sudden coercion, but gradual escalation. In 2018, the facade crumbled. Keith Raniere was arrested in Mexico, hiding inside a residence. In 2019, he stood trial for racketeering, sex trafficking, and forced labor. After 6 weeks, a jury found him guilty on all counts. In 2020, he was sentenced to 120 years in prison. He is currently incarcerated. But the most disturbing question is not about what he did. It is about how it was possible. The answer is not that the victims lacked intelligence. It is that the system was built around the most powerful human drive, the desire to improve. Raniere did not offer wealth. He offered transformation. And when people believe they are becoming better, they are far more likely to accept things they would normally reject. Suffering becomes discipline. Obedience becomes commitment. NXIVM did not begin as a prison. It began as a promise. And that is what made it so difficult to recognize. Not because it was hidden, but because it looked at first like hope. Next week on The Criminal Blueprint, she was 19 years old. She was the heiress to a publishing empire. She was kidnapped by a radical political group, and then she picked up a gun and joined them. Patty Hearst. Was it really brainwashing?